So you're looking to add an amplifier to your factory radio. Well, you've come to the right place. Now, one thing I don't want you to do is end up like this. And why I'm saying that is there's 3 different ways to add a line-out converter, high-level adapter, or however they call it. We're going to go through step by step how to choose the right one for your vehicle. If you stick around to the end, I'm going to show you how to make one a little special one so you can actually turn it up and down all on its own and give you a subwoofer out from your factory radio. All right, let's jump right in. This is usually your radio, okay? You have a radio like this from a Honda, Mazda, whatever kind of car. And you'll have a harness like this. And essentially, when you unplug it, you'll have a male version sticking out of the dashboard. So what I need is a bridge to talk to Mazda in this case, to talk to an aftermarket amplifier that just looks simply like this. And we're trying to convert from speaker level to RCAs. Okay, and it's easily done. The one thing I want to add though is, if you buy a quality high-level adapter, no matter what you add to it, you can expand it infinitely. If I want a 4-channel amp, 2-channel, mono and a subwoofer, I want to run a 5-channel or even more, this is the bridge. And I recommend buying one that's powered. And what I mean by that, it has power and ground. Then also too, it has a turn-on lead. Okay, this blue one here, and I'll go a little bit better. All right. This, how it happens is when it senses the radio playing, so it goes, all right, I'm going to send a signal to turn this on. And this sends 12-volt trigger down to the amplifier. Now it tells it to turn on. You might say, well, some amplifiers have auto-sensing turn-on lead, and I get that. And that means that when it feels the music, it turns on. But I want to make it every time that you turn the volume knob, it works. What if it's at low volume and it's not enough to turn the amplifier on yet? Well, that's no fun. And then it becomes a problem. I want to make it easy for you, fun, and just like your factory one. When I turn it on, it works. Buy a high-level adapter, and I'm going to link one down below, that has power, ground, and a turn-on lead. Now, that being said, there's going to be 2 sets of wires, white and a gray. White is right, left is gray. So this will attach to, remember, the factory harness. So in this case, because it's nice and easy, you're going gray to gray, white to white, and this attaches. Now the one thing is power. So remember I showed you this picture? This is because someone had a factory amplifier and ran the wrong high-level adapter. Every high-level adapter you buy, regardless of the manufacturer, buy one that has power and ground. Save the $10. Don't try and save the $10, okay? It is not worth it because stuff like this happens. What happens is if you have a factory amplifier, would we agree that there's going to be more voltage or more power coming out of a premium sound system like Bose, Infinity, Sony, etc.? And this is where people run in. A lot of times they get their first used car, they get it off their parents, a hand-me-down, or they got their first car with leather interior and they don't realize that there's a factory amplifier. And what it is, you have to check the voltage out. Without getting too into the tools, most factory amplifiers, B&W is a big culprit if you look on the internet, 3 volts and 20 volts out. Hear me out, bad math happening. This particular one is a 6-to-1 adapter. Most amplifiers, just like this, want to work between 1 and 4 volts. If a factory amplifier puts out 12 volts, it's going to overload your aftermarket amplifier, and this is where you get into trouble. This is a 6-to-1. So if it's 12 volts out from the factory, this will knock it down to 2, because 12 divided by 6 equals 2. This is called a 6-to-1 step-down transformer. And you're like, no, James, they're all the same. No, they're not. So this is another good quality one. I've used these for years. It even has a metal heat sink. It actually gets it into heat and billows it off. It's a very good one for very long road trips and when you're really going to beat the hell out of your music. On this box, I'm going to zoom in here, right here. It says 4-to-1. So in the same case, if I took 12 and I divided by 4, I'm at 4. I'm at 3. Now you caught me with dirty math. But anyway, it's less than 4. So it's still good. But now let's use the example of when people go to a subwoofer. Okay? So I use the example of the 3 Series B&W because they have a very powerful amplifier in it. And I have an Infinity vehicle myself, which has quite a powerful subwoofer amp because it runs a subwoofer. I chose to run one like this with a 6-to-1 adapter. And you don't know if it's between 4, 12, or 20. So what if you make the attachment and you get very little output? What this one does, and this is why I like this one, it has these little adjusters right there. So I can adjust, I don't want to say the volume, okay, because I'm trying to make it match. So I can turn it up and down. So if it's too quiet, I can turn it up a little bit. Consequently, if it's too loud, I can turn it down. Because in the case we're talking about, like a BMW or a high power system, it might be too much. So I want to turn it down. And giving yourself adjustability makes a big difference. This is a good one. It works fine, but there's no adjustability. And when chances are, if you found me, you're going to be doing this as a DIY project. This is when I worked in the install bay all the time, and I love this product. It works flawless, but I had the tools, and I don't want to say I knew exactly what I was doing. Now, that being said, if you don't know, something like this, but you want to see that 6-to-1 step down. Now, for example, I have a nice one here, and this is a really nice one by Focal, and one of my favorites as well. Now, it doesn't tell you a step down. They have it here written on the box, and it says 5 to 50 watts. What's 50 watts? This is actually the exact same one I used in my Infinity, because I knew it was 35 because I measured it. But that being said, I don't want you to get in trouble, but I will say there's not too many factory systems over 50 watts. So you know something like this is going to work. That's the one thing. And also this one has the power and ground. This has yellow sensing turn on lead or a wiring turn on lead. So it does the same thing. And it's just a nice little black box, just like this one. And it comes like this, nice little black box, got a wiring harness, same thing. So it's not so much the brand, it's will it work for your application. And I hope I still have you here because I want to make the connections, and let's jump right in. Over here, I'm going to show you a wiring diagram for a vehicle. And you're going to see front left positive, front right positive. Okay? And you can see them in the diagram. When I go here and I select the whites and the grays, okay? The one, there's a white and then a white with a black stripe. So I was telling you, white is the right side. And so white is positive, white black is negative. I made the connection to these wiring colors. Why I'm not getting too specific, because I don't know if you have a Honda, a Mazda, an Infinity. I don't even know if you have a Ford. So you'll need to find a wiring diagram like this. And I'll leave a link of where to find this the best you can, but Google's your friend when it comes to finding wiring diagrams. Just that easy. That's it. Now, these ones here, the yellow and the black, I really recommend that you get the wires behind the radio. A, serviceability. If I know it's behind the radio and I can pull out the dash and it's back there, I know exactly where it is. 2, when I run the RCA cables up, I can run them behind the radio. 3, if there's a problem, I can see the wires. A lot of people will stuff these behind the dash, they'll put these underneath the carpet, they'll put it way in the back. The wiring diagram is showed here. You'll see a positive 12 volts for power and a ground wire. So you can get all the wires you need at the head unit. I don't use a switched wire, and a switched wire means when ignition turns on and off, it goes power on, power off. Because a lot of radios nowadays don't have an ignition wire at the radio. So that's why I'm choosing one that has a yellow and a black, and then the turn on lead to go to the amplifier. So essentially when you're all finished, this goes to your radio. You plug in RCA cables, you see here. I have it coiled up for this illustration, and then this will plug into your amplifier. It really is that easy, and since all these connections are behind the radio, it makes it very easy to install. Now, if you want to see me connect these to these wires, I'll link another video shortly, and you'll be able to see how to make connections. Well, it's pretty easy connections when you kind of break it down. So, like I said, this is all it is these cables plug in and run to the amplifier. If you plan it and buy the right part, it is an easy job. Unfortunately, if you get in over your head, I am going to say to consult a professional. And I mean it. Like if you start to get the willies and you're like, stop what you're doing, take it to a professional and just say, hey guys, I tried to do this. I'm in over my head. Can I help? And I'm sure they will help you out, because they also understand we all started out as DIYers before, okay? As I was saying in the video just slightly before this one, if you want to have a tutorial on doing some connections, how to make some wire connections, and I'm going to do some splicing as well, because in this case, I don't want to physically cut the wire and then attach a wire and then do it again. No, you want to splice onto these ones to be able to keep this kind of harness intact. So I'm going to show that right about here. Okay, and the little thing up above. All right, I told you I'd give you a little bit extra, all right? So when you see this one here, you'll notice it has a knob kind of like this. So what happens is this adds a volume knob to whatever is attached to it. So whatever's after your factory radio. That being said, a lot of people use something like this, and I use this in my own vehicle, and you have front speakers and rear speakers. But the problem is, to adjust, to make it louder, I either have to turn the front speakers down to make the rear ones louder, or do I make the rear ones quieter, and that turns my subwoofer down? You see what I'm saying? So what this does is, the one that I showed you, right there again, all right? You can make it so it plays, leave it all the time, how you want it to play, and if you want more bass, you turn it up, and if you want less bass, you turn it down. And it is the sweetest little thing, and once again, it doesn't cost you any more money if you buy the right one. And that's why I'm here. I'm using my 30 years of experience to help you have fun with your car audio, which is say DIY projects, have a little fun in your car, and have a good time, and get more boom in that trunk. Remember, knob is good. I just wanted to add one more thing for you guys, okay? Why I say the knob, okay, is because if I'm listening to podcasts, do I want to have the subwoofer on? Maybe not. Maybe the kids are in the car. Maybe I don't want to. Maybe the wife's in the car and she doesn't like the boom. So when no one's looking and you're having some fun by yourself, you turn it up and have some real boom going, okay? That's why. It just gives you flexibility for the family, for the wife, or for you. Or maybe the wife will be turning up when you're not looking. You'll get into the car and it's going boom, chicka boom, all right? If you're cardio obsessed like me and you love ideas like this and you want to carry on and keep on learning, I'm going to show you this one, where I do a speaker shootout of 6.5-inch speakers, and I hope to see you on the next video.